How long can I stay in Mexico? Well, let me tell you, you get a lot of time in Mexico if you are a U.S. citizen. I lived in Mexico for about 6 months, and I have a perspective to share with y'all. So let's get into it. Firstly, the United States has an agreement with Mexico to allow visitors to come in for 180 days, which is 6 months. I think that Mexico is a fantastic place to start if you are a U.S. citizen or a North American in general looking to move abroad and you're exploring your options and you don't really want to go too far. You want the luxuries of kind of the same types of climate or hemisphere, really distance to your homeland. Mexico is really great option because it's really easy to get back to the United States. There's lots of flights, very affordable flights too, especially if you're coming from the more tourist areas. Mexico has lots of different geographies. It has, I forgot how many states it has, 20 something states with very different geographies and cultures, just like the United States has 50 states with varying different types of cultures and geographies and weathers. It's the same thing in Mexico. I know a lot of people worry about the food, but there's different types of food all over Mexico, and also the spice situation is interesting. You would think that all of Mexico likes spicy food, but that is not the case. The places that are the hottest usually like spicy food, and the places that are more temperate do not eat spicy food. So we found that out when we traveled around. We were like, oh, this part of the country doesn't really eat spicy food. That's interesting, and it usually correlated with the weather. U.S. citizens who are traveling to Mexico for tourism or non-paid activities do not even need a visa to stay up to 180 days. You can just kind of essentially arrive. If you have a valid passport, you do need to fill out the Forma Migratoria Multiple, the FMM. It's like a tourist permit, and you may be asked for proof of solvency. And that usually costs about $54 USD, kind of fluctuates depending on the year and the value of the US dollar. Key rules for U.S. citizens, so you do have to have that valid passport. You can stay up to 180 days, but it does kind of depend on the exact amount of time. Does depend on the immigration officer that you're with, which I can talk about my experience with that. The FMM permit, you need to have evidence of purpose, so like basically like a return or departure ticket, hotel reservations, things like that. No visa is required, like I said, if it's short term. And if you're driving, you do have to drive to comply with the temporary vehicle import laws. A lot of people in the U.S. who live in the southern states, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, you can just drive into Mexico. And then there are cash limits. You can't be carrying more than $10,000 US in cash. But yeah, it does depend. I remember when I came through Puerto Vallarta, and I came before my wife showed up. So I came about 6 weeks before she arrived for personal reasons, and it was really great to just like have that personal time by myself. But when I got to the airport at Puerto Vallarta, I went through immigration. I meant to go last. I wasn't in a rush. Nothing about my being there was about rushing, so I was like one of the last people in line. And I went through, and they were like, most people are staying for a week or two, right? They asked me, how long are you staying? And I was like 100 and blah, blah, blah days, whatever it was. I think it was like 160 something days at that time. And they were like, huh? And I was like, yeah. I know it's kind of weird, but I know that I get 180 days and I'm going to be staying in different parts of Mexico. And then that like kind of piqued their interest. They're like, what? They're like, yeah. And I was like, I can show you my Airbnbs. And they're like, yeah, show us your Airbnb. So I like showed them. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be in Puerto Vallarta for this much time. Then I'm going to go to Guadalajara. Then I'm going to come back to Puerto Vallarta. Then I'm going to go to Oaxaca. I was like telling them my whole itinerary. Like, I was like, go here. So I was like, I'm trying to make sure that I stay under the 180 days, but I really wanted to travel all around Mexico. And they were like, oh, they were just like interested in the fact that I had this whole itinerary planned. And they're like, okay, well, cool. All right. So after explaining that to them, they gave me the 180 days. So it was fine. And then I went on. But I thought that was funny because everyone else who was going through the line were clearly there only for vacation. So they were going through the line so much quicker. They were just like getting the stamps, and just people were going through. But I had like a much longer thing to explain to them. And then like another immigration officer came over because they were just so interested that I was like doing this long trip. They were just kind of curious about my reasoning for being there. Didn't feel like they were like being suspicious of me or anything like that. I just think that they were just curious that I had this whole itinerary planned. But yeah, so I did that, and yeah, like I said, I did stay in Puerto Vallarta. I stayed in Guadalajara, Ocatlan, Oaxaca, Cancun, and Playa del Carmen. And my experiences there were fantastic. All of them very different experiences, and I liked each place, you know, for very different reasons. All of them had their own distinct cultures. Some even had distinct foods, and yeah, it was just a really amazing experience. I felt very welcome there. When I first got there, I was able to use my really bad Spanish for a while, but then as soon as my wife came along, she's half Mexican American, so people assumed that she was Mexican, and they would immediately just start speaking to her. They ignored me, so my Spanish didn't get any better after that first 6 weeks, because it was just hard to even like interject in the conversation sometimes, because they were just like going at it, and I'd be like, oh, okay, you guys think I don't speak Spanish, and kind of I don't speak Spanish. I just speak a little bit of Spanish, enough to get by. But yeah, it was, like I said, very, very welcoming, very, very gay friendly, especially the places that I went. I just felt like it is a place that I'm meant to be. And I really highly recommend it for people if it's their first time living abroad. It's a great starter country, and sometimes it ends up being people's forever country, right? I think for me, in the long term, I definitely want to go back and have some type of semi-permanent residence there. I definitely think I want to get residency and enjoy what Mexico has to offer. I didn't even get to see the whole country, right? I only saw like 5 or 6 cities over a couple of different states. Yeah, I didn't get to go to Mexico City or any of the other northern states. I'm really interested in checking it all out. And I know that Mexico gets a bad rap because of people think about cartels, but a lot of that is propaganda. I mean, America has so much violence, so much gang violence, so much gun violence, so many shootings, mass shootings, so many school shootings every day, and people will latch on to one incident that happens in the country that happens maybe for a day or two, and then it's over, and they'll be like, oh, I will never go to Mexico, I can't go there, it's too dangerous, when they're in a country that has mass violence every single day. It's just like so ingrained to the country that people are like numb to it, don't even realize that it's happening, and just kind of ignore it unless it happens to you directly. And that is just really ignorant and kind of sad for those people who are so close-minded to the idea that they can't go someplace because it has a little bit of violence, as if like their country has none. And when I was in Mexico that entire time, I saw no violence. I saw no crime. I didn't see anyone steal anything. Like, there was no issues when I was there, and I'm sure that's not the case all the time, but when I've been in the United States, I've seen people stealing, I've seen people pull guns on people, I've seen people get beat up, I've seen awful things in the United States. And the entire 6 months that I was in Mexico, I saw no violence, no craziness. So for me, that alone, I'm like, Mexico is a much safer place and a great option for people who want a much, simpler life. It's also more affordable. Not all cities, but most of the cities are a lot more affordable than the United States, and that's a big deal for me. I'm coming from the San Francisco Bay Area, so one of the most expensive places in the United States, and Mexico was quite affordable. It was a good experience. So, yeah, that was my experience in Mexico. I definitely think it's a great option. Like I said, you can stay up to 180 days, and the requirements for coming aren't very high, aren't very expensive. If you are interested in visiting Mexico, if you're interested in taking a sabbatical or living in Mexico, I do help with that process. I'm a lifestyle architect. I help you design and build your house, your life, and I can help you with like logistical issues with that. Maybe you need to figure out your finances, so I can help with like financial literacy to get you on the right path in order to save up money so you can make those changes and hit those goals of living or just visiting other places in the world. And just reach out to me. I have resources on my website. I have links in my description. Some of them are free. I would love to work with people who are looking to make a change in their life. I am definitely not your average type of American immigrant, tourist, expat, whatever you want to call me. I don't fit the mold for a lot of like the influencers out there. I'm definitely a contrarian, and I like to be really intentional about what I'm doing in the world, and I'm looking for other people to help who just want a different way of life, who are not necessarily extroverts, but really want to make a real change in their life for the better, for a more positive change in their life. So if you're interested in that, hit me up. Otherwise, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.